the only thing I saw was that the Germans had this tradition of the Easter hare.
But it had to come
Bringing
from
it back.
somewhere, right?
Yeah, I would imagine so. I'll have to Google it.
It's such a random thing.
Yeah. But, I mean, and then the question is, how did that get into sort of like the likes of America and all that kind of stuff? And that's when the German immigrants settled in Pennsylvania in the 18th and the 19th century. And I was wondering, is that where the Pennsylvania Dutch came from? I don't know. Can't be, yeah.
What?
Pennsylvania Dutch. You know what Pennsylvania Dutch
No
is?
idea.
The Amish people.
Is it?
Yeah.
But
I
I
was
thought
always
the
wondering
Amish
why
people were like the Dutch or the Flemish.
Maybe the
Because
Dutch also went with the Germans.
It was probably both, because there was also Amish that came from the UK.
Okay.
Really? Okay.
But how
Anyway.
come they also, were Amish in the UK also speaking Dutch or Flemish?
They did, yeah.
Okay. That's interesting.
Well, they tended to speak the older languages, right?
Yeah.
It's like now, if you go and speak Old Dutch in Netherlands, people would struggle to follow you.
Yeah.
This High Dutch is just a different. It's like, what?
But
Nobody
isn't
talks like that anymore.
Afrikaans more similar to Flemish than
Well-
it is to Dutch?
Well, Flemish is very close to Dutch.
Yeah, it's a dialect, but like,
Yeah.
isn't Afrikaans like?
Well,
Well, I'll give you an
the common
example. So
name
I
for-
work with Dutch people. I can
Yeah.
understand and follow their conversation. But if I speak Afrikaans, they don't follow me.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's probably easier to follow Flemish if you can speak Afrikaans. It's easier to follow Flemish than it is Dutch. And that Flemish would probably understand more Afrikaans than Dutch.
Yeah, sure.
But it's still such a mixture of a language. I mean, there's German in there, there's Dutch
Belgium.
in there,
Yeah.
there's French in there. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, in South Africa, they called Afrikaans was known as kitchen Dutch. So it was like the colloquial dialect
Yeah.
of Dutch.
So do you think like with Afrikaans, right? It stayed where it was like 2 centuries ago, or whatever, and the Dutch language itself actually evolved.
I don't know.
Well, I think all languages evolve.
Yeah,
I mean, look
yeah,
at
yeah.
Shakespeare. We don't talk like that anymore.
Yeah.
We should.
And the
They still
Americans
have-
don't
we should.
speak like the UK.
It would be so cool.
But I mean, even
shall not.
mess around. Yeah.
Bubble, bubble, toil and trouble. Is this a dagger I see before me? Is this an AK-47 I see in front of me? That's not much in it.
Yeah, no, I'm just.
Okay, let's go back to Easter. I think we digressed.
Yeah, no, I
How
think
did we
we.
digress from Easter to
I don't know. We
to
were talking about
original
Pennsylvania Dutch.
Pennsylvania Dutch?
Well, now I'm curious now. Pennsylvania.
You got to remember, it wasn't just the settlers in the US. There were a lot of missions that went out west.
Ah,
So-
check here. Yeah, we digress, but this is an interesting story. So they say
Is it
here
rabbits?
that no, it's the Pennsylvania Dutch history and their way of life. So the Pennsylvania Dutch, also known as Pennsylvania Germans
Yeah.
or Pennsylvania Deutsche. So that's where the Pennsylvania
Deutsch.
Dutch came from. Yeah.
Deutsch.
Yeah, are descendants of the early German immigrants to Pennsylvania. So it was the Germans that have now, yeah. Well, that's interesting. So they arrived in the 1800s to escape the religious persecution in Europe.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
yeah.
And they brought the Easter rabbit with them.
Well, on the
hare.
boat. They didn't have
Possibly.
chocolate Easter
So-
eggs in those days. It was
So-
forbidden by the church.
Probably still is.
Just a question, right?
Yeah.
So, like, would these Pennsylvania Dutch, descendants would go on to become like Amish people, like we know them now,
Yeah.
or they're a completely different like group?
No. Let me just see here. Well, geez, we're learning so much on the episode today.
Yeah.
I've got a question for you. Did you spell Pennsylvania right when you put it in Google?
It finished it for me.
He's like, hey Google.
Yeah. Be careful now. So it says here the Amish, also known as the Pennsylvania Germans,
Okay.
are a group of traditional Christian church fellowships with Swiss, German, and whatever that is origins. Yeah. And
So I was starting to say that there was a lot of missions that went out west. You know, a bit after the settlements, but there were those that went out west. So there was actually a big line of mission stations, and those turned into the towns that we know today. So that the west was largely controlled by mission stations.
Are you talking
So
about
Las
West
Vegas
Coast
was one
or
of them.
like?
So
Or
Las
you?
Vegas is actually a missionary town,
Wow.
and German is
is.
still spoken in some of these towns. So if you go
Yeah.
across Nevada, those largest towns, which are now hubs for casinos and such, those were originally German mission stations.
wow. So I was just
That's pretty
checking here
interesting.
to see do the Amish celebrate Easter? So they say that Easter is an important church holiday for the Amish. Yeah. No, I was just wondering, like you could just imagine that all of a sudden they didn't celebrate Easter, but they do. They do. Anyway, I digress. So you were talking about all the towns that they're in. So they say, so what they're saying here, Holmes County in Ohio, first, right? And then Southern Michigan, in Somerset County in Pennsylvania. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
Okay. And there's your history lesson for today, boys.
Okay, that's it.